Hello, world. Welcome to another week of Golf Subpar. Colt Knost, Drew Stoltz. But let's get to our guest this week. He's got a lot of different names. No one really knows his name. He's been called Kevin, Jeff.
Keith, Jeff.
But his real name, Keith Mitchell. He's a PGA Tour winner. He's a giant slayer down at the Honda Classic year before last, taking down Brooks Koepka and Rickie Fowler. Heck of a guy. Had a blast with him. Ain't scared to get amongst it.
He ain't afraid. I loved it. It's fun getting to know some of the guys that I don't know as well. You know what I mean? Know a lot of them, don't know all of them. This is a guy I never sat down with, and afterwards I was like, this guy's great. Mm-hmm. This guy's a 10.
He's got some skills, too. Can absolutely smash it.
Sends it.
Yep. All right, well, here he is. Keith Mitchell on Golf Subpar. Welcome, everyone. Normally, the sleazy man does the introduction, but when we got my good friend Jeff Mitchell in the seat, we have to let me introduce him. First off, this is Keith Mitchell, but does anyone on the PGA Tour's name get messed up more than yours?
Kevin was stuck for a long time. It was probably a year and a half or two, and then Jeff comes out.
Well, I missed Jeff until JT Poston, your good friend, sent me the clip of Brandel Chambly last week in Hawaii talking about the great round by Jeff Mitchell.
I mean, Jeff isn't even close to Keith.
That's not even, and Keith is not hard. Like, it's the most basic, like, it's a pretty basic name. I don't know why the constant butchering.
I've embraced Kevin to the point that it was partially my nickname on tour.
Yeah.
Guys would just call me Kev. And when I would play with another Kevin and someone would say, "Hey, Kev," I would turn around. That's how much that people call me Kevin as a joke.
The Kevin started at the Honda, correct? The year you won.
No, it started a year before that.
I didn't know that.
I was playing in Houston the week after Dominican Republic. I'd finished second in the Dominican Republic, and Johnny Miller says, "Here's Kevin Mitchell, who won last week in Punta Cana, Mexico."
Okay.
Well, at least you got one good thing out of it.
He got three. He got
all three things
yeah,
wrong.
Kevin Mitchell wins in Punta Cana, Mexico. No, Keith got second in Dominican.
Yeah.
Republic.
Whatever. You know, gold
Jerry's
jacket,
getting a little old.
Yeah.
gold
Things
jacket,
slip.
green jacket. Who gives a shit?
But that's the funny about the Honda. It was a year later. Dan Hicks did it walking up 18.
Yeah.
And then the article, and now Brandel, who prides himself on being the most well-researched man in the world. We'll bring that up.
Got a quote from him for this. Like, Brandel can remember what happened in the 1942 Masters on Friday, hole 3 to God knows whoever, and he can't remember Keith Mitchell.
Yeah,
maybe I just need to play better, right?
Well, you said it.
You're playing pretty good. But Jeff, we are very excited to talk to you today because, as we like to do here, I was reaching out to some mutual friends via text before the show, trying to dig in a little bit, get a little dirt on you. So I texted Joel Damon. I said, "Hey, got your boy Jeff coming on the show tonight. I need some dirt on him." He writes back. His first text response was, "He likes wine. He likes flying private. He's fancy as fuck." And I said, "This guy sounds like a 10."
Okay, who doesn't like those things?
Yeah, if you say like,
that's a good point.
I mean, seriously, like, yeah. Are you saying
you like good-looking women too? This would just be weird. We have so much in common.
I mean, who dislikes those things?
That's actually a great point. Okay,
Valid.
I'm on your side on this one.
Valid.
All right, well, we're going to dig into all your PGA Tour stuff here in a little bit, but first, we got to go back to the college days because when you played at the University of Georgia, you're a Bulldog. I mean, the University of Georgia is just a staple on the PGA Tour now. Every time they show one of those leaderboards with the colleges next to it, it seems like every other person is a Georgia Bulldog. What makes that place and Coach Hack so special and such a hotbed for PGA Tour players?
I think that the short and easy way to describe it is he lets us do whatever we want, which is good and bad.
Every college coach just freaked out.
Yep, they did. Well, he never picked a team. You would always have to qualify. And that was the root of his whole system was if you knew that you had to qualify, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday that week, you had to practice and prepare, and you had to show up, and you had to play well, or else you weren't going to go. So there wasn't any like, oh, he's going to pick 3. I'm going to be one of those guys he's going to pick, so I'm not going to really practice that hard this week, or if I don't play well, it's okay. Like you had full pressure on you, just like you would as a professional throughout college, and you never had scheduled practice. So you pretty much had to make the team on your own.
So if you won the week before, you still qualified the next week?
There is those. That's an exception.
Okay. Hey, you won. Great job. Get your ass back out there and qualify.
There was the exception was if you made top 10 in the week before. And my junior year, my senior year, we had a really, really good team. and I didn't even make the squad in one tournament my senior year, and I played as an individual. Joey Garber, who was on tour, Joey, he was on tour last year and is on the Korn Ferry Tour, was ranked number 1 in college golf. 5 guys, since we had individuals playing the tournament, finished in the top 10 that week, and he couldn't play in the next tournament.
Wow, that's a tough one to swallow. So you just had to sit out number 1 ranked
well,
kid.
Thank goodness we had individuals that week too. So Joey wins the golf tournament, not counting for our team.
Wow.
That's Coach.
Coach
Yeah, make an exception for me.
I love that because it does. You can't just coast by. I mean,
Nope.
that's really.
I feel like that works better off than hey, let's sign a kid. You'll play every tournament.
Yeah, and
there's
you
so many
promise him
guarantees.
things, and then that kid doesn't maybe work as hard as he should, or the worst is when you get your hand held all the way through college. Required practice. You got to work on your wedge game. Then you get an hour on your putting, and you do this, and then you turn pro, and no one's telling you what to do. You have all the freedom in the world, and the only thing that matters is what you shoot in qualifying.
Good point.
What you shoot in Q school, what you shoot in money qualifying. That's all that matters when you turn pro. It doesn't matter if you're an All-American or not. It doesn't matter if you did this or that. It's only about what you do in qualifying, and that is all Georgia was.
Yeah, that's
really cool.
That's
yeah.
a different. Not a lot of programs do that anymore. But you mentioned your senior year. You had a good college career. It wasn't like these kids coming out now that have won every single award. I think you were honorable mention All-American your senior year. But you had a great quote that I read somewhere. You said, "I was great at college. I wasn't great at golf." I mean, is that just part of going to school in Athens? Like, there's so much. People that I know that went there rave about the place. There's so much going on there. Is it tough to just be locked in on golf down there? I wouldn't say it's tough. I would just say I got distracted easily.
It's very easy to get distracted there.
Yeah, that's a better way. The distractions are higher, which is part of the reason why I moved to Sea Island, honestly. Like, I knew all the guys, not all, but a lot of guys went to Georgia or SEC schools down there. I knew that it was working for them because it was a small town environment. Everyone was practicing together, playing together, kind of leaning on each other. And I knew that my extracurriculars would be very, very rare at a place like that. And it worked.
But
truly.
What a town, though, Athens.
Yeah, Athens.
I remember I played
Yeah.
I played the first year they had their Korn Ferry Tour event there. We decided to go out on a Tuesday night. I'm not going to mention the players' names, but we went out. There was a few of us, and they told us to go to I think it was called Bourbon Street. It was just a bar.
That's if you had a real ID, you couldn't get in Bourbon Street
Okay,
because
let's
you were
make
too
this
old.
out. For the record, I was like 23 at the
Yeah,
time.
so you were older than the bartenders.
Yeah,
If you just draw your picture, a stick figure on a napkin, they'll let you in.
Yeah.
but I did go up. I think there was like 4 of us. I said I need 8 beers, or 4 beers and 8 shots. We're gonna take 4 shots and send 4 to that table of girls over there. And they're like, that'll be $28. And I'm like, 8 shots, 4 beers, $28. I'm like, I'm moving here tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. I didn't get to go to a college town. I was in Dallas. I mean, that's $100 in Dallas minimum. So I was like, this is Athens. I could get used to this.
It is an amazing place.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a better college town from the guys that I've talked to who played there, went there, whatever. There's not one person that comes out of the University of Georgia like, I didn't really have a good time down there.
I don't know if you've heard this either. Their football team's going to be good next year.
Yeah, next year, dude.
I
You're
tell
right
you what,
there.
Our next year is always our best year.
It's unbelievable.
Always.
Is the men's golf team the most successful program at University of Georgia, you'd say? I mean, they've had great athletes, obviously.
I mean, it's easy to say looking back and you see of how many PGA Tour players we've had and how many wins we've had in professional success. Yes, I would say so. We do have a lot of football players in the NFL, but if you count how many guys are on a football team versus how many guys are on the golf team, per player, we're definitely ahead of that. I mean, over 50% of the guys I played on my team are on the PGA Tour. That's insane.
There's like 10 active or something like that.
Right, and I played with 7 of them, 6 or 7 on my teams.
That's a joke. With a competition that good and a team that good, you had a solid college career, but did you ever doubt yourself coming out like, I don't know if I can play on the PGA Tour? I got 5 guys on my team that can beat me right now.
Well, thankfully, half of those guys were already on tour. And so I was like, well, I mean, I played against these guys every day, and they're on tour, so if they can do it, maybe I can actually practice and prepare properly. I might be able to make it. And I guess it was 3 years of that. It took me to get on tour, but not as fast as some of those guys, but it ended up working.
Yeah, you went through all the ranks. You went PGA Tour Latin America. You went Korn Ferry Tour before you finally ended up at the PGA Tour. I know Sleaze had a little Latino American question, I think, for you.
Oh yeah, you had a class. I think 2015 was that the year you were down there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We
you had a class.
Nice crew.
You've come out of there. Harry Higgs come out of there.
Yeah.
Nate Lashley's come out. So 2 guys from that class have won on the PGA Tour.
Adam Shank was on that.
Shank, yeah, that was. Did you ever look around and be like, yeah, these in 5 years, I would expect a bunch of us to have won on tour and the rest of us be there.
I tell you what, there's a couple Latin guys that I thought were unbeatable, and I think they might still be playing down there.
Really?
I don't know what it is. I think those guys just felt comfortable down there in those golf courses where we felt completely uncomfortable, no language, never half of these grasses we hadn't even seen before, and they're tight.
Well, that's called dirt, Keith,
Yeah,
down there. They don't really play
You
on
can find
grass.
a lot of grass down there, I have a feeling.
It was the fun part was when you'd show up to a course for the first time and you look at the practice facilities, they'd hand you like a bag of balls, half of them be yellow, half of them be white, and it might be a Spalding and Slazengers and whatever. And then there was guys hand picking the range with helmets on. Like seriously, that was what we were doing. And you look back and you're on the range and they don't have your exact Pro V1 that you're playing to hit on TrackMan and you're all upset.
TaylorMade comes into your Titleist bag. You're like, what is this?
What
place?
is this crap?
Who's running this
And now
thing?
you look back to the names, we were just happy that we could actually hit a driver on the range.
You didn't have to sacrifice some of your game balls, so you didn't have to worry about cracking your driver.
When I was playing in Brazil and I was in a 7-hole sudden death playoff, I had 3 balls in my bag, and all 3 of them were completely used because it was my 4th week in a row down there.
Yeah, you don't think about
you
that.
had to pack your balls, and it's my 4th week in a row.
There's not
heavy-
3 dozen in your locker every
No,
week.
there's not.
How heavy is your bag got to be traveling? I'm going to be 4 weeks down here. I need 9 dozen balls.
Yeah, it would peak at 70. By the time I'd come back, it'd be 50.
Yeah.
I'd leave
That's
a couple pair of
incredible.
shoes and golf balls, and that
Take
was
the
it.
purses and the money and all the cool stuff about the PGA Tour out of it. Was that some of the most fun you've had playing pro golf?
No question. And the reason was I was 23. I was fresh out of college. I was so excited to have a place to play. I was excited to feel like I had some sort of a PGA Tour card. I know it wasn't a PGA Tour card or the PGA Tour card, but it was a PGA Tour card. And I was just thankful to be there. And then we had a great group of guys down there playing.
That's awesome.
Who was your runaround group down there?
Definitely Harry Higgs. Harry and I knew the OG Harry.
Yeah.
Like
Before all the fame.
before he's all big time now.
Big, beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's going to stick. We're working hard on
Yeah,
this.
try to use that as much as you can.
So yeah, now he's all famous and big time, and we had Michael McGowan. He was a mess down there. Oh my God, he was a mess. But we had so much fun, and Shank would run around that crew. Will Collins was down there. Stephen Fox.
Oh, yeah.
I roomed with Stephen Fox every week. And it was funny because Stephen Fox and Michael Weaver, who had finished first and second in USAM, were down there. So we thought they were superstars. So yeah, it was a lot
Anyone
of fun.
can win that tournament. It's really no big deal.
Basically hand that thing out.
Yeah, they do. But
We thought,
Yes.
like I said, thought.
yes, exactly. But let's fast forward a little bit. You get your PGA Tour card in 2018. You go out and you miss your first 3 cuts on the PGA Tour that season. I looked back at this, so don't question me.
Wow, you've
would
already
never-
missed my first PGA Tour event. But that's
No,
okay.
I saw that.
Oh.
You finished 14th on a sponsor
Okay.
exemption. In
No.
10th. You Monday qualified?
I'm Monday qualified.
Okay, either way you got in. I just assumed
Check
you
him.
got a sponsor.
Okay, big difference.
Yeah, I checked
buddy.
you got a sponsor.
Yeah,
Check
big
him on this,
difference.
Jeff.
I know you
Fact
finished.
check.
I know you finished 14th though. I saw that. That was good playing.
I think I finished 11th.
Okay, whatever. Didn't get you in the next week. But you
There
go
you go,
out as a
whatever.
member of the PGA Tour.
There we
You
go.
started out and you missed your first 3 cuts.
Yeah.
Did any panic set in at any moment and be like, "Oh boy, this is a whole nother level here"?
I definitely knew it was harder, but it was a different kind of panic. It wasn't panic. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. It was more of like, I got a lot of tournaments left. I got a lot of golf to go, but this is like no cakewalk.
Justin Thomas missed his first 2, so I mean, you're fine.
Yeah, you're in good
I'm
company.
only 1 cut behind him.
How long did it take as a member of the PGA Tour to feel comfortable, like in your own skin out there? I belong. These dudes, I'm not afraid of these guys.
It took after the West Coast because when I first showed up at Torrey, that's the first PGA Tour event. I don't care what you say. The Fall Series is great. Hawaii's amazing. Palm Springs is cool, but it's a Pro-Am. You show up at Torrey Pines and you see that golf course, you see all those fans, and you see Tiger Woods in the parking lot. That's when you're like, oh my God, I'm on the PGA Tour.
Yep. There's PGA Tour events and there's PGA Tour events with Tiger, and it's a totally another animal.
Totally different game.
You mentioned like the fall series is great opportunity for young guys to go out there and play great.
Courses are awesome, but
the golf courses aren't set up quite hard. You go to Torrey Pines, now we're on a big boy track.
Yeah, you look at the fall series and see what their average score is for winning, and then you start going to Torrey and LA and the Florida swing. It's not 20 under anymore, buddy.
But Torrey's got to be a place where you would, in theory, lick your. I mean, that's a golf course that sets up well for what you do.
That was the first. I played great the first 2 rounds. I think I might have been in the top 25. And as a rookie, I was excited to be there, and I still would be at any point. But I got nervous on the weekend. I mean, I'm teeing off, and there's thousands of people, and I played behind Tiger the last day. I remember that. And it was the kind of stepping stones. You get used to things and they become more natural and more normal. But it was until after Torrey that I felt like I could kind of catch my stride.
Yeah, I mean that's the first time too you really see a ton of fans out there.
Oh yeah,
and everything. I mean,
when Tiger's there, and Harry was actually just in here, and it was that tournament. He was talking about how he found himself like looking back at Tiger. I think Tiger was a group behind him or something like that, and he kept talking about. I found myself just looking back, seeing what Tiger was doing. I was almost more of a fan out there than he was a player.
Yeah. Just to say like how different it is with Tiger. I remember Tiger played Tampa one year, and he's never played there. And it was the year he finished second, but Tiger's on the range. And I'm on the range, and there is thousands of people. And this range is tiny at Tampa. There's thousands of people backed up, okay? He leaves. Rory McIlroy is the current #1 player in the world. Walks on the range. There might have been 7 people.
People just flood out of there.
It's like unbelievable.
I think you've said that on this podcast before. I think you
got to remind the people in case they missed Jeff Mitchell's episode.
Jeff, are you?
I think you said that in the Rats podcast.
God, how good's the Rat?
He's the best.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the Rat a little bit later.
Yeah, the Rat shall be discussed. We can't go an episode without talking about the Rat.
Let's stay on the big boy golf course because you wanted a golf course that is arguably one of the scariest places on the planet to win. You wanted the Honda Classic, PGA National, and you did it coming down the stretch against Brooks Koepka and Rickie Fowler. Like, take us through that because carnage can happen at any moment on that golf course on the back nine. You can go from 1st to 30th so fast, but you handled it well and ended up getting your first PGA Tour win.
I did not handle it well at Q School a couple years prior.
We're not talking about Q School, Jeff.
That happens. I am right there with you. I hate that place. At least you got your vengeance.
I did not make it through Q School, the Bear Trap, but that year, when I won, God, it's almost 2 years ago now. It still feels like yesterday, which is cool. But it was, I'll never forget when I bogeyed 11, and I was like, man, I think that might be it. Because Ryan Palmer had been in the clubhouse for 4 hours at 7 under.
Yeah.
And that dropped me down to 5 maybe. I think, it dropped me down to 5 under. And I got the Bear Trap coming up. And I'm 2 back and the wind's blowing. I'm like, okay, well, let's just play as best we can. If you get top 5, get whatever, fine. That's great. And for some odd reason, that kind of just took some pressure off of me. Like, instead of trying to achieve the impossible, I was like, all right, I'm just going to go play as best I can and see what happens. And it sounds so cliche, and that's what all the sports psychs tell you to do. But
it's really boring.
It's terrible.
Yeah, say something weird.
But that's what happened. And so I hit a great drive on 12. I kind of didn't hit my 9-iron great going into the green, and it came up only like 15 feet short. I'm like, oh, damn, I can make this birdie putt. And I made birdie, and then hit a great shot in 13 and made another birdie. And I'm like, okay, whoa, I'm in this. And then the shot on 15, I completely blacked out. It was insane. It's 9-iron. I accidentally started over the water because I kept shifting to the right because I wanted to hit it closer and closer and closer and closer. And I looked up and that ball took off. I'm like, that's it's interesting.
Yeah, this isn't really right.
That's the longest 6 seconds of balls in the air ever.
And it's funny because I've looked back at the footage and you can see myself just kind of shimmy over to the right just a little bit and just keep looking at it and just moving and aiming, and I striped it. Because, I mean, if you're starting a ball that far right, you obviously drawing back into the flag, you hit it solid. It's not like I pushed it because it wouldn't have covered. And then once I hit that putt, that was when I knew I could do it. And I knew I hit a great shot in 16, whatever, 2-putt par, great shot in 17, 2-putt. And then I did the most unconventional Keith Mitchell thing ever. Had to lay up on a par 5 and hit a wedge and make birdie. And
I mean, that's a hole that's very, very gettable for you.
Right.
You have Rickie Fowler and Brooks Koepka posted 8 under. And I'll be honest, I mean, probably the Honda Classic board was probably like, oh my God, we're about to get a playoff with this wonderful gentleman, Kevin Mitchell, Brooks Koepka, and Ricky Fowler. This
Jeff,
is going to be
Rickie,
incredible.
and Brooks. What's better?
Yeah, and then
That's
you
TV.
wedge it to 14, 15 feet, and I mean, were you shaking over the putt? Were you like, oh, this is fine, no big deal, I got this?
I remember when I gripped the putter, I could barely feel the putter in my hands, and I kind of smiled or like kind of giggled inside because I was like, oh my God, this is real. When people talk about, not being able to feel the putter or something, like that kind of moment came true, and I almost was like laughing at myself, like, well, they were right. This is real.
Here we go.
And I hit it, and it just, straight
God,
cash.
it looked so good the whole way.
It was milky. You're obviously thinking about making it. You want to win it, avoid a playoff. How many thoughts were in your head? Just don't give myself a little something coming back that
Never thought
possible.
about it.
Not once?
Not once.
That's why you're a champion.
Not once. I didn't care at all. I've never thought about two putting, never thought about anything. I just tried to read the putt and hit the best putt. And I mean, there's a couple times, I was asking Pete the stupidest questions just to get my mind right. What's that grain, Pete? Left or right? Like, no shit, it's left to right. That whole green's left to right. The water's right there. The sun's setting over there. Somebody that doesn't know what grain is knows that grain's going that way. And I'm just like, Pete, is that grain left to right? Yeah. Little grain, a little left to right. Was a little uphill? Yeah, a little uphill. Like, I would never ask him those questions.
That's awesome.
Your cat, he's one of the big characters out there. Crunchy Pete. What was he doing down the stretch to try to keep you even keeled?
I don't know.
Do you remember any of it?
I mean, I don't remember any specific conversations we had. He's so solid when I'm playing good because he never gets rattled. He never gets upset. He never gets upset when I'm playing bad or good, or, he's so even keeled out there, and he's just chilling, and it just keeps me cool.
I love that. How did you get the name Crunchy?
Sal's Pizza, St. Simon's Island, Georgia, pre-Q, 2014.
He was caddying for you at pre-qualified in 2014?
You guys go back to your amateur. Didn't he caddy for you at the USAM qualifier?
USAM qualifier, yeah.
Okay, so wait, still, why Crunchy?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, Crunchy, get to that.
So we're sitting in this Pete's place, and a dear friend of ours, he's talking about, how he went out to the beach and swam in the little pools and paddleboarded all day and brought like his shampoo to the ocean and this, original Pete stuff. And this guy was like, you are so granola. Like, you're this hippie, like, crunchy. Yeah. And we're like, oh, Crunchy Pete. That just has a ring to it. And ever since that day, it's kind of like trying to call Harry Big Beautiful. It just kind of rolled in and rolled in and rolled in, and then now it's Crunchy Pete.
That's
amazing.
it. Yeah, he's a beautiful character. Wasn't he like a whitewater rafting instructor or something? A lot of outdoors.
Yeah.
I got to ask you this because you mentioned earlier you moved to Sea Island. I mean, it's a hub for a ton of tour players. What are the games like in an off week? Y'all get some action going?
I get asked that all the time, and they're so normal for us now. I wouldn't say the stakes are high, which is, I could lie on here and make it sound cool.
Yeah,
like
just do that.
Pat and
we'll
I are
edit
betting
this
for our cars, but it's more of the pride of beating Pat Kazire and making him pay you $10 is worth $1 million to me.
I love that. But my next question was, who's the pigeon of the group of all the tour players there? Who gets slapped around the most? There's got to be someone. And if you don't know, then it's probably you.
Yeah.
You know the old saying, Jeff.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. It's probably me because I am so lackadaisical when I play golf at home that no one wants to be on my team when we're betting because I'm just like talking and hitting balls and playing and just being me and like, dude, we're 3 down with 3 to go. Like, let's go. I'm like, oh, shit, sorry.
What's your favorite one to play down there? You have Seaside, you have Ocean Forest, Frederica. Where do y'all play the most at?
We like to play the most at Ocean Forest just because it's probably the hardest, best test of golf.
I heard it is brutal.
Yeah. Do you not play the Jones Cup down there?
When I played the Jones Cup.
your amateur career was, stellar.
How have you not won that, dude?
Yeah.
Well, it was at Frederica. Ocean Club was getting redone the year I played there.
Oh.
Sorry, guys.
What's your when on an off week and you got all the guys around? What's your percentage play versus practice? Are you on the range all the day?
I'm
guy?
50-50.
You mix it up?
Yeah, I'm 50-50. And it's a pretty safe 50-50. Like I could 1 week it might be one different, but I'm pretty even on that.
All right. Well, I want to ask you about this little hidden gem you're a part of outside of your hometown of Chattanooga.
Ooh, yeah.
Sweetens Cove.
Let's go.
There's a couple guys that are somewhat famous that are also involved. Andy Roddick, Peyton Manning, and Jeff Mitchell. I mean, how did you get involved with this? And tell us a little bit about Sweetens Cove, because I've never been there. I looked it up today on the internet. I've driven by it. I mean, the place looks unreal.
It is awesome. And the only reason I'm involved was when they were doing the capital raise for all the investors. It happened to be exactly after I won the Honda.
How convenient.
Got some money.
And so the big man, I get a voice message, and it's, "Hey man, congrats on your win. Got this little thing going on. If hope you want to be a part of it." And I mean, sold. I mean, it didn't.
I'm guessing the big man was Peyton Manning.
Yeah,
Who's the big man?
exactly.
Yeah, there
Peyton
we go.
Manning.
Okay, yeah.
And when
Sure,
you
Peyton,
get a
here's
call,
my social security number
Yeah.
and
I
my
don't even
blood
know,
type.
I don't know how much it is. I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this, but yes, I'm in. And so, long story short, he was like, "Yeah, don't send your Georgia football players at me if we lose all your money." Trying to cover his ass.
But what's the deal with the golf course? Because it's fully, is it public?
It's yes, and it's just a 9-hole track that believe it or not, I'd played it before any of this hype came around. And it was just a local 9-hole track. I mean, it would be like you driving to anywhere here in Scottsdale that was a 9-hole course. And that's it. It's $20 to play. And it's now gotten so much hype that people expect that they're going to play Augusta National, or they're going to play Whisper Rock, or they're going to play some incredible place. But they forget that the origins of this place, where it's just literally a muni 45 minutes outside of Chattanooga in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. And that's how incredible the architecture was, how incredible just the scenery is, and how good of a job Rob Collins designed it, that it got all this organic traction of pure golfers saying, "Wow, this place is really, really cool. Y'all need to go check this out." It feels like it's the average man's, British Open course or something like that. And so I'd known about it. I'd played it before. But then when Peyton called me and said it, and we're doing the bourbon line too, Sweetens Cove bourbon, is really the kind of the fun spin-off of that, where we made our first release was last year. We made a 13-year-old whiskey, Tennessee straight bourbon whiskey, I think is how you describe it. I'm not an expert at that, but it tastes really good. So
Golf and bourbon, that's a nice little side hustles to be involved in.
Most
Did you know
when
Peyton?
most of our guests are involved in booze, though, they bring us some.
Well,
I can't even
we'll
get
hold
it.
you to that.
I mean, I can't even get this stuff. It's so hard to find.
You got your name on the damn thing. Did you know Peyton before?
My name? Are you kidding me? I'm the.
I figured you'd be
the
first,
last-
and then those other two
right.
Larrys would be
it's
after
most,
that.
Most
somewhere.
companies are like, "Hey, look, I can do this for you, and I can help you do this in golf." Like, yeah, Keith,
That's
just
how you
shut
should
up
explain it.
and give us your money, and we'll do the rest. Yes,
I got a bourbon company. I'm letting Peyton be involved on the side a little bit. Did you know Peyton before this, or was this call out of the blue, or what?
I was fortunate enough to grow up playing a little bit at the honors course in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Beautiful.
And Peyton always spends a lot of his spring there. He has a house in Chattanooga, and so I just kind of seen him every once in a while around the club, and he was always. I mean, as we all know, Peyton is just the most down to earth superstar ever, and so he was always nice to me, and I kind of kept in touch with him here and there a little bit, and then I guess he thought I was worthy when I had enough money to pay for his.
He waited perfectly
made
until you
seven
won.
figures.
He's like, let's wait on this guy.
Yeah,
Now's the time. Call him Monday.
Yeah.
By the way, can you guess what the record for most holes in one day at Sweetens Cove is?
In one day?
One day, 9-hole track.
Oh.
251.
252.
What?
Very good guess.
There's
What
been
a
250 hole-in-ones in one day
No,
out
no,
there?
no. Holes played.
Oh, holes
Holes
played. I think he said
Holes
hole-in-ones. I was
played
like,
in
Jesus
one
Christ.
day.
Oh,
Holes played in one
250?
day.
Yeah.
252 holes in one day. That's buzzing around quite a few times.
Can we talk about how it was only one off there?
That was
Yeah, that
really
was
good.
actually really
But it does say
right
it on the
off the top.
website. I mean, it does say it right here.
I mean, I should have known. Because
He
that's
wrote
what
the
I was-
paragraph.
yeah.
It's not like I called Sweetens Cove. Like, hey,
The
who's
fact,
played
that
the most
I,
holes?
the fact that I missed it by one is the other.
I don't know. I'll take a shot in the
Man,
dark. 251 or
pictures-
thereabouts.
The pictures of this place just looks unbelievable.
No, it is. It is.
Do you get
awesome.
down there much?
Yeah,
Or
I
up, I
was
guess?
actually. I took our dear friend Bobby Wyatt to play in we call it
Yeah.
the Founders Guest or whatever. And I'll tell you a quick story about this. Is I'm playing, and I got the best compliment of my entire life. And I'm going to say this on here because I promise you, it makes me feel 7 feet tall. I am playing a match against Eli, and Eli's part of it too. And I gave him half a shot a hole. No, I take that back. I gave him a shot a hole. and because we played.
Shot hole sounds better. Go with
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, go with
no,
2.
it is because he was a 4, and so that would make sense.
Okay.
Because we're playing 9 holes.
holes.
I gave him a shot a hole, and he beat me 2 up in the first 9 holes, and so I asked him how much he wanted to play for. I was like, "What do you want to play for?" I'm like, $100 a hole. He's like, "Yeah, how about $20 a hole?" I'm like, "Dude, I've made 1,000th of what you've made in your sports career, but you're the one bringing this down." Anyway, he beats me 2 up in the first 9 holes. I press. He beats me 2 up on the next 9 holes. So I'm like, all right, here's your $80, but I get to get it back in a football contest. He's like, perfect. So we put a cooler out on the putting green, and we walk 40 yards back. And since I gave him a shot a hole, he gives me an extra throw.
Just one?
Right.
I don't think that's enough.
Yeah. Well, so and
Seems
by the
like
way,
a bad bet.
Eric Decker is playing in the thing
Okay.
too, the old wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
If his wife was playing, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
It would be way cooler. But he was playing. And so I throw 2 and miss. He throws, misses. I throw 2, I miss. He throws again and misses. So I'm like, wow, I'm just bonus balls now.
You're basically as good as Eli.
So I hoop the next one. And then he misses. So he has to give me his $80 back. And then Eric Decker walks over and goes, "Man, did you play quarterback in high school?"
Oh, God. Your head got bigger than sleeves is when he said that.
No, I love this. Is good.
And I was like, I am the least athletic person probably. And the fact that Eric Decker, a Pro Bowl wide receiver, asked me if I played quarterback in high school.
That actually reminds me because a good friend of yours, Drew Butler, who's a punter at the University of Georgia, knows all the Georgia golf dudes. I was talking to him before, and we've had him on our radio show a few times. I think one of the questions we asked, like, amongst your Georgia golf friends, if you had to start one of them at quarterback, who would it be? Correct me if I'm wrong, Colt, but I think he said you, and then it ended up being like a hybrid of you and Hudson Swafford or something like that.
Hudson or Harris.
Or Harris English. So now you're 8 feet tall, bud.
Harris is a punter.
Now you're
He
8
can punt
feet
it.
tall.
All right, well, we mentioned at the start, rumor around the tour is you like your fancy, expensive, flashy things, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Liking and having and spending on
Well,
is completely
that's what
different.
I want to know
Hey,
is,
don't be
Yeah.
ashamed
do
of
you
this.
have any fancy,
Yeah, I have
highfalutin things?
I have the sweetest car.
Highfalutin.
I have the best car in the world.
What do you got?
It's a BMW M5 competition, and it's from BMW. Like, if BMW was like, "We want you to have this car,"
That's
and so
sick.
That's
so
handy around
I
Sea
can have
Island,
the
I
fancy.
bet.
I can have the fancy car, and unlike Arm, who went and bought it before he played in the tournament, I was given it to me after the tournament.
Oh, so you wait to get and then the free shit comes.
So it's like,
that's
I have
smart.
the fancy stuff, but BMW's the best
Uh,
ever.
A race car BMW's got to be a convenient thing to have around the gated community at Sea Island, I would think.
The speed limit is 35, and that car goes 0 to 35 in a half a second, so it doesn't do much.
Yeah, that's nice. You get to the clubhouse in 4 seconds instead of 12.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to have around there.
Oh, that
It's there in a half a second. I love it. But okay, what is one thing? Say money wasn't an option. What would Keith Mitchell buy?
Ooh, just anything.
Anything.
Oh, that's a very open-ended for you.
that
Yeah.
is
Because I know you,
can go a
like
long
cars,
way.
you like boats, you like jets. I mean, you like what do we all like?
Keep
I mean, we all-
going. Yeah, you're a dude. Got it.
Yeah.
But if money's not an option,
So
what do we buy?
I just happen to know more about the fancy stuff.
yeah,
How about that?
That's yes.
Okay. If I would buy a sweet boat and we would all go hang out on it and just go cruise around in the Caribbean and
Like we talking
do whatever.
yacht? Or are we talking?
Yeah, like a mega yacht, or
Well,
we're talking like
if
a
you
fast
said
boat?
money's not an option, I'd have the biggest boat with all the small boats attached to it and a submarine on it and a helicopter pad and we have the whole deal.
Sounds pretty nice.
That does make
Hey,
sense.
make a lot of money.
That does
okay?
make
Let's
sense.
I got
get
a
What
this-
about
long
wine?
way
What
to
about
go.
wine? If you got your pick of the litter bottle of wine, you get to have a nice evening with your girlfriend. What are you going with?
I'll just give it to you. It would be an Amadeo Pepe, which is an Italian wine, and it is legit. It was if you were talking to a wine person, I would call your first wine that you had. You're like, oh my god, this stuff is
No clue what it is.
Yeah.
Never heard of it in
Exactly.
my life.
Like, what
Sounds
does a
like it'd
bottle
be
of that
really
cost?
good.
$150, $200.
Oh,
No, I was expecting
Yeah.
like 5,000 or some
Yeah, so
weird
was I.
shit.
Quit being so cheap, Keith.
Dude,
I mean,
treat your girlfriend
See?
nice.
I mean,
bud.
shit.
150. Might as well just get her some mums.
I was ready for some weird. That comes in a box.
Weird.
you know?
That was weird. You never heard
150.
of
I
it.
thought that comes
Well,
in
you
a
can't
box.
find it,
dude.
so that's the problem. That's a hard stuff.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I want to ask you another thing you're known for. You're known as a pretty good prankster, and you got one that went on Twitter and it ended up going fairly viral. I think that was with Phil Mickelson, I believe, at the Wells Fargo when he fell asleep in front of your locker, just passed out on the bench, and you took a picture of him on that. When you saw him there, did you know immediately, like, this is my time? This is the guy that gets everybody, and now is my time to get him?
Well, the reason it all started was I played with him in a practice round at the Masters probably a month before. I think it's about a month before. Mm-hmm. So I had never really known Phil, and I felt comfortable enough to do that.
Yeah.
And so if I hadn't played with him, we hadn't kind of, just shot the shit playing in the practice round, then I probably wouldn't have felt compelled to do that. But he also at the time was just ripping on everyone on social media. He'd just gotten social media, and he felt like the king of social media. He's doing the 2-tip miscut Tuesdays or whatever his little
the firesides,
and all that.
Everything.
He just felt like he was on top of the world, right? So I just felt, I was like, this is gold. And I promise you, he was so pissed.
He was?
That's what I want to get into.
Picture.
Yeah.
What'd you do with it?
Did you see it?
See, I don't think I saw
Dude,
this.
he's literally passed out. His hat's like over his head. He's just asleep next to his locker.
First of all, Phil, you have your own pod because you've won that event that has 3 lockers in a row with your own bench with no one near you because you've won. But you decide to go sleep in front of other people's lockers so they can't get in. You have your own bed pretty much. And so he doesn't sit in front of his. He has to go in front of mine. So I'm sitting there looking, and there's his locker with empty lockers on either side of him, but he's in front of mine. I'm like, oh my God, this is too good. I'm taking a picture of this. Mm-hmm. And so I put it up, and my agent's there, and Phil and I work with the same agency company, just different guys. And I'm like, hey man, you need to check my Instagram. He's like, all right, whatever. And then an hour later, I'm like, bro, did you look at my Instagram? He's like, no. I was like, dude, you need to check this out before something happens. And he was like, oh my God.
Was there a caption?
Yeah, there was a caption.
Good,
I'll have to pull it up. And so he calls Steve Loy, and Loy's dying laughing. He's like, no, that's great. Phil needs this. Phil comes in there in the locker room. That's our sanctuary. You can't take pictures in the locker room.
Oh,
blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Phil, I get it. You're right. Like, it is a locker room, right? But there's no harm, no foul here. And so he finally got over it, okay? He finally swallowed his pride and was like, okay, you got me. This was about a week later. And then he's telling everybody that he's going to get me back. He's just telling everybody he's going to get me back. He's going to get me back. He's going to get me back.
Hadn't happened.
Has he?
Well, he tried.
Oh, what's that?
Well,
I don't know that one.
So I don't know if y'all have heard the story about Phil and the cop and the other caddy. They wrote a story about it. Doug Ferguson wrote a story about it.
Feel free to fill us in.
He gets a cop to get a caddy and puts him in the back of the car, and he does his whole spiel, and he pranks his caddy. So Phil's bragging about these stories about how he's used his cops to prank people, and he's waited forever and ever and ever to do it. He'll hold a grudge forever. Well, I'm at the Players, and this was about a month later, and he's telling everybody he's gonna give me back. So I'm kind of got my head on a swivel, right? I walk in, and a cop grabs me, and he goes, "Hey Keith, I need to see you." I'm like, okay. And I'm starting getting nervous. I'm like, what's going on? Why is this cop pulling me off to the side? And I kind of look around. There's a lot of people standing there. And he's like, yeah, I need you to read this, lawsuit. And it's a paternity suit.
That's elaborate.
And he writes this whole thing out. And I look at the cop. And so now I'm starting playing off the cop, right? I want to see if he cracks. Because, if this is serious, you wouldn't be doing it in the breezeway of Sawgrass and the Players on a Wednesday or a Thursday. And I'm like, okay, where do I sign? He goes, oh, you got to read the whole thing. I'm like, I understand. Where do I need to sign for this? Because obviously it's whatever. And he goes, well, you got to read this, but just sign here. And so I just signed in big letters, Phil Mickelson. And handed it right back to him and walked off. And I walk in that locker room. What the hell? How'd you know? You knew somebody told you. Oh, and he is losing his
well played,
mind.
Keith.
So he tried to get me back, but
that's good. I didn't know about the rebuttal story.
Yeah, I don't
like
think
that.
That's new to the air.
I can't believe he got so mad about the
because he does.
Sanctuary.
Sanctuary. Phil, the guy that pranks when he first was reacting like that.
I don't disagree with him. Like, if you don't want people taking pictures in our locker room all the time and putting them on social media, like I get that. You don't see that many pictures in locker rooms in the NFL. No. But if it's a fun picture, somebody, it's different, right? It's not like somebody was getting out of the showers or doing something they shouldn't be doing. It was a completely harmless picture. I understand the picture in the locker room. I didn't understand him getting pissed about it.
You're not recording conversations or
no,
anything.
And
if anyone can handle it, it's Philip.
Yeah.
It'll be
he finally
fine.
got over it. He tried to get me back. He didn't, but trust me, I know he's got something.
You got to wake up a little earlier,
keep
Philly
that head
boy.
on the swivel because he still might.
It got to the point where I thought that he might, like, if we were taking a flight somewhere, that he would literally make the pilots land somewhere else and then just me get out in a different city and pay for it.
Divert you to Omaha?
Yeah, exactly. That's how elaborate I know Phil can get.
Well, I guarantee you hadn't forgot.
No,
he doesn't keep that head on
and now that I'm saying this again, it might, kindle that fire a little bit, and he might.
I hope so. I love the pranks out on tour. It's the best.
Oh, yeah. That's fantastic.
Well, should we get to the E9?
I got one more serious. I want to ask this is a
Okay.
serious question. You've recently made the switch from flat brim hat guy back to visor guy. Why the switch back to the promised land?
I've always been a visor guy. If you can find some old Georgia pictures, and even, I don't even know if they have amateur pictures. If I was playing in something, I was probably in last place, so it didn't matter. But when I was at Georgia, I definitely wore a Georgia visor. So I've always worn visors. And when I was with Nike, it was like kind of a uniform to wear a flat bill for me. They didn't have the cool visors, and I have a huge noggin, so the flat bills fit my head better. And that was that. It felt like my uniform. Like I was strapping up to go out in the battlefield, and that's what the flat bill was for me. And now I got a nice deal with Cisco this year, and they've been an amazing group of people to work with, and they wanted the front of the hat, and then you can wear whatever you want. I'm like, well, let's rock this baby.
Visor.
How good does it feel to be back? Because I noticed I'm a visor guy. Your dome is the perfect proportion. The hairline is very nice. You're a visor guy at heart. You just masqueraded as a flat brim guy for a while.
I did, yeah. So the people that knew me well knew that I was an OG visor guy, and then the newcomers were like, "Oh, what's this new visor?" I'm like, it's old, baby. It's old school.
You got to feel free now that you're out there.
I might even have to get some. I don't know. What should I do?
Some product?
Maybe should I let it grow out?
No product. Maybe just let it flow.
You got a lot of products
bit.
in yours.
I do a little bit now, but I've been visor because I got an enormous head too, so the hats never fit me.
Do you put the product?
No, never ever with the visor. No, I think product with visor, that's bad look. Okay. You got to let it just be free and let it do whatever it wants to be.
That's kind of the Ian Poulter look. Remember when he used to?
Yeah, he used to have the spiky. That's way too much. There's too much vanity in that. Like, I'm gonna put a hat on and put in. Nah, bud, come on. If you're a visor guy, you're a free spirit. You know what I mean? Don't complicate things. Yeah, just let it breathe. But I saw you last week in Hawaii, and I was like, he's back.
I'm back.
Yeah,
big things coming.
Huge
just because you got the visor back.
Oh, hey, I had my best week in a while last week.
Exactly, dude. It's because you're back. You're back to your roots.
All right, well, let's get into this.
You want to do it?
I know you've seen our show many a times. You're a big fan, especially
the
Barn Rat episode.
Yes, the rat.
All right, but number one, we always ask everybody: movie made about the life of Keith, Kevin, Jeff, Mitchell, whoever. Who gets to play that person?
If I get to pick
any actor, dead or alive. Somebody got mad at us the other day on the internet because whoever we picked was dead. I'm like, it's dead or alive. It's
who
fun.
was it? It was it was Harry Higgs, Philip Seymour Hoffman, which is only that's the right answer. And they're like, he's not. I was like,
well, chubby Chris Pratt. When I saw some pictures, actually did work out.
Correct. In hindsight, Chris Pratt was a little more accurate than I thought initially.
But you can pick anyone you want. Any actor.
Old school Leo. Old school Leo. Like
it's actually not that far fetched.
Like I'm talking like when he was like originally getting on, not like the new slick Leo.
Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah,
Leo.
that Leo.
Yeah.
It's
actually not far fetched. It crossed my mind.
Yeah,
I'll accept it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got a guy?
I didn't really have one. I couldn't really think of it. That's why I'm accepting this old school.
You're one of one.
Like, who the hell does this guy look like?
You're too hard to cast. The movie will never be made. I had you as Miles Teller, which I think is a compliment.
He's a funny guy. Girls like him.
Project X, he's a dude, man. He probably likes private planes and wine, too.
Like I said, who doesn't?
Exactly. He's already halfway to the role. All right, next question. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Can you name all of the current Georgia Bulldogs playing full-time on the PGA Tour right now?
Yes.
Okay, go. I'm going to test you.
Bubba Watson.
Correct.
Chris Kirk. Brendan Todd. Harris English. Hudson Swafford, Russell Henley, Brian Harmon, Keith Mitchell, Sepp Straka. How many left do I have? Oh, you're not going to tell me.
He doesn't know the total. What are you talking about?
Pay no attention to these fingers.
You're at 9.
I'm
You're at 9.
There's a few more. Does Compton count? Because doesn't he have?
No, I don't.
No,
I
he
didn't.
doesn't
I
have
said
status.
just full time. I'm going right now. Like they
Okay.
got whatever they want to get in.
Okay, playing. So
You're missing. Well,
Kiz.
yeah, you hit him. I think
No.
I don't
Did
think
he
I
not?
did.
You almost
No.
left out Kids.
I almost left out
legend.
Kiz.
that
he
would.
was
I was
the one
kind
I
of
left
hoping you
out.
left a guy out and we get back on you. for that,
That's
but-
10.
How many there is? I don't know how many there is. This is his question.
You got Patrick Reed. Are you claiming Patrick Reed? Or are you gonna give him to Augusta?
That's tough.
That's a.
I'll let the people decide.
Wait, very
Very-
safe.
So, do you have the list?
Yeah, dude, I got him right here. I come prepared. Bubba, Brian Harmon, Brendan Todd, Chris Kirk, Keith Mitchell, Kevin Kisner, Harris English, Russell
Yeah,
Henley,
I
Hudson
pulled
Swafford,
Kiz out. Yeah.
Sepp Straka, big question mark asterisk, Patrick Reed. Because
Yeah.
he did attend the University
Well,
of
and
Georgia.
Joey Garber, it was on the tour 2 years ago, and he's on Corn Ferry.
Yeah.
And Grayson Sigg pretty much has his tour card locked up on the Corn Ferry this year. So he's almost guaranteed to be on tour next year.
There's going to be 20.
2022.
The
If you
leaderboard
have-
looks like a
Yeah.
qualifying round.
So you already have 2 guys in the pipeline. Joey is about to be back on, and Grayson pretty much is going to be back on. So there's 12 right there.
It's half the damn
Perfect.
tour.
All right, number 3. I don't know if it was last year or the year before you played with Commissioner Monahan at
Both
Pebble
years.
Beach.
Yeah, 2
Both
years, yeah.
So you are obviously super
Wow.
tight.
Face of the tour.
He's going to let you be assistant commissioner for a day. What's the first piece of advice, or what do you have Commissioner Jay Monahan change to the PGA Tour?
Oh, wow.
First off, Jay's amazing, by the way.
Yeah,
Talk about
he
how great
is.
he is.
That's a lot
He
of power.
is unbelievable.
Yeah, you got a lot of power.
A lot
right
of power here,
You're gonna be
Jeff.
like, hey Jay, this is what I think you should do.
Yeah, let's change these things from 4 days to 3 days. And maybe add a cart.
I would just say make the fall series shorter.
So you have a little off season.
I mean, this year I had 4 weeks off.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at every other major sport, they have time off, and I'm not saying we could lose sponsors, we lose market share, but it's a lot of golf. Like it never ends, and I think that's why you see so many young guys coming up and their stamina is better. It's just the fact that you see guys like Stuart Sink and Jim Furyk and Brian Gay competing at 40-something years old against us and traveling that much and playing that much. It's insane. It's amazing. So I that is a very surface level answer that you only gave me 30 seconds to think about. So I would hate to.
That's part of being commish, dude. You got to think on your feet.
Right, but I'm not complaining about having a lot of tournaments. It's just a lot of stress. I mean, there's full-time guys are paying hundreds of $1,000s a year on their bodies to try to just keep up and playing, and I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, there are definitely way more injuries. And part of that's the gym too, but part of it is there's no break.
The zero.
Yeah,
And every week you take off, you feel like you're losing ground.
Yeah.
It's really hard. You actually have to schedule off weeks.
and to like change if you want to do something like I need to change something in my swing. There's no really time to do it unless you're doing it on the fly.
And do it in the off season and and for 4 weeks. I mean, come on. We all know 4 weeks isn't enough to change. I mean, hopefully you're on PGA Tour not changing, but that's nor here nor there.
Yep.
All right.
All right, next question. I got a little help from your buddy Brandon Harkins here on this one. He says, "Are you embarrassed that you claim to be a big fisherman, but yet your girlfriend is the only one who can catch your fish off of your own dock?
That is a true statement.
You built this big, nice dock. I've been told you
I
can't
did.
catch nothing.
So I have fished out there at least 100 times. I've seen fish, casted at them, everything. I have caught zero. I was out there one day. I saw a couple redfish swimming in the stream right by the dock. I called JT. He's like, get the rod. There's 4 fish right here in this little pool, and hurry up. And of course, JT moves at a snail's pace all the time, as you know. Just JT posting for those, the postman. I run to him and then run back. That's how much faster I was moving. I cast at him like 4 times, nothing. He goes, give me the rod. 1 cast, boom, catches redfish. So then during quarantine, we're out there and I'm fishing, and Claire's like, let me throw one in there. And she throws one in there right there, and she just starts hollering. She's got a trout on the line, and I have a video of her trying to throw it back in the water, and listening to her squeal throwing that fish back in is hilarious. So yes, JT Poston has caught one off my dock. My girlfriend's caught one off my dock, and I have not.
Wow.
All right,
Well,
that
we can
stings a
stay
little.
on a little fishing question here because I got one as well. I was watching some of your Michelob Ultra little commercials with the Sea Island Boys or whatever the hell y'all call it down there.
The Mafia.
I mean,
the Mafia.
We got Jupe Life and the Sea
Jupe
Island Boys.
Yeah, we need a name
All
out
right,
here.
All right, rank these tour players from best to worst fishermen.
Okay.
You, JT Poston, Harris English, Patton Kazire.
Okay, not to get too technical, we talking saltwater or freshwater? Big difference.
Oh wow, I don't even.
Shit,
Dude,
I don't
you're
care.
talking to
You
me
pick.
and Colt, bud. We
Yeah.
we
Okay.
watch
We live in a
National
desert.
We cruise
Okay.
through National Geographic. That's all we know about fish.
I would say Patton is number 1 at freshwater, and then us 3 are tied for worst.
Okay.
JT,
Okay.
Harris, and I. And then in saltwater, I would say I've experienced the most amount of time and effort doing it, and JT's probably better, and he has done way less.
How do you be better in one water than the other
It's
water?
luck.
Just luck?
Oh well, it's
Like
water
one,
to
like
water.
how are you
Oh,
good
okay.
in salt and not
It's
good
completely
in
like if we're talking about
fresh?
fly fishing, right? If you're talking about fly fishing in saltwater, it's completely different than a bait caster casting for a bass. It's completely different. Like fly fishing is literally like learning a golf swing out there, and bait casting is just trying to use your thumb so it doesn't bird nest on you. I couldn't throw a bait caster from me to the other side of this table without it tangling, but I can throw a fly line, 70, 80 feet.
I can't do any of it.
Have your girlfriend help you with that.
Yeah.
She'll
Come on, Claire.
she'll tighten you up a little bit. Let's go, Claire. All right, next question. Would you agree to play in the Zurich next year with Nick Saban as your partner if it meant that the University of Georgia would beat Alabama?
Yes, 100%.
Wow.
That was quick. That's
100%.
loyalty to the squad.
You're going to miss the cut.
You're gonna
at
miss the
Zurich
cut.
because
He's
you
not
have to play
that
alternate
good.
shot with
That's
Nick
fine.
Saban.
I've missed a lot of cuts, and I'm just fine.
Okay.
That's a man coming.
And I might get a nice tip from him or something about
That
it.
was a definitive answer. But you
Yeah.
also have to have some camaraderie and high five and coach
dude,
him up.
I think everyone at the University of Georgia would love for me to do that.
All right,
so
maybe
we
you
could
do
beat
that.
them.
Maybe you do that.
That's fair. That kind of can lead into the next question as well. Who do Georgia Bulldogs hate more? Florida Gators,
Florida.
Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets,
Florida.
or Alabama
Florida.
Crimson Tide? Wow, really? It's that definitive.
Not even close. Not even
Wow, I thought it'd be
close.
like an SEC school because
No,
like battle.
Florida.
I mean, Georgia Tech, they're just
Yeah, I don't even think they're enough. Like football
No,
drives
they're
everything.
not.
They're
They're
not enough
not.
on the map.
They're not.
It's Florida.
It's not hands down. And you can ask any Georgia guy that comes on the show, ask them that question. I promise you they'll say the same thing.
I would have figured it was Alabama just because they're so good.
They
Alabama's new.
because you're
though.
cursed.
It's
Yeah.
new. It's fresh. It's not an old, long-standing hate. It's like just new blood. And
Fair.
so, yeah, I mean, we hate Alabama because Tua threw that pass and to Devontae Smith. I mean, two of the best college players to ever play the game. And
Yeah, I didn't want to bring it up.
I hate
So
them for
would you
that.
play in the Zurich with Tim Tebow?
No.
This is a good question. We're getting to the rat here. I've heard you say if you weren't on the PGA Tour that you'd like to do something in finance, okay? We'll test your financial advisor skills here.
Zero.
Okay, what advice would you give to curedx Alpha Barn Rat who spends every dollar he makes on either cars, shoes, or watches? How would you advise him?
Well, I've talked to him about all three of these things. He has found a way to buy these watches that sell on the secondary market for triple what he pays for them.
So he makes money off this deal.
It's
So
like
they're
Poulter
good.
and his Ferraris.
Yeah.
curedx has all these Patek's and Rolexes that are, 10, 20, 30 grand that sell for 60, 70, $100,000. He is, trust me, he's not an idiot. He has got it.
Well, no, he came
No,
on
he's
this show.
beautiful.
Brilliant.
He's perfect.
No,
human.
about his, I'm not financial
right.
advising. Like it's as crazy as it may sound, and this is probably coming from a watch freak too. So he's making good investments on these watches. If he sells them or not, that's not up to me. But the value that he has paid for them and what he could sell them for is a lot different.
So are you going to do that if you win again? Start buying some watches, shoes, and cars?
That is I tell myself that if I win, I will buy a watch to commemorate a win. And after I won the Honda, I bought one watch to commemorate
What'd you
a
buy?
win. I bought a Rolex.
Okay, very nice. Would you give him that same advice, though? Because with his shoes, he buys one pair as a collector's item and one pair to wear.
I listened to that and I started laughing out loud. That is fantastic.
His wife thought he was cheating on him because he had another apartment.
Yeah.
What did she know is for his shoes?
What about the rent he spends on the apartment that just takes care of his shoes? Is that good or is that smart or not smart?
I can't attest to that, but that is awesome. Can we say it's awesome?
the best.
I don't care if it's smart or not smart. It's awesome.
He lives how we all want to.
No one would do that except him, and that's why we love him.
Yeah, he puts a down payment on a Ferrari after his first win. Like, I'll figure out the rest of the 150 later on. All I know is I can drive out here with it. It's unbelievable.
That guy's
He's a legend.
amazing.
All right, last question. We've obviously talked. You like your finer things in life throughout this whole show.
No, y'all are telling me.
We're feeding it to you.
Everyone that we talk to says this.
It's been
not
echoed.
just us.
I'm
We
knowledgeable about them because I didn't study
All right.
school. I studied Instagram.
The younger generation, maybe your generation, started this new word recently called bougie. Is Keith Mitchell bougie?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Do you know what it
Define
means?
bougie, though.
Yeah,
define it.
I don't know. I don't even know what it means.
Well, I'll
But you
look
just said you weren't it, so I feel like you
Right?
should probably
'cause-
know the definition.
you're. I feel like it's like flashy. Like
like
Ferrari,
floss, like just
like-
flaunting your.
Yeah, and like gold. I don't wear gold.
Or maybe if you can't afford it, like, hey,
Well,
I'm down payment on everything I'm wearing, but I
Yeah,
don't own
like
any of it.
yeah. If,
Well, let me give
if
you
I
this
couldn't
slight-
afford it.
Yeah,
then
but
that
I'm
was-
still gonna go get it for whatever the minimum amount of cash I
I
can
think
give
you
it.
might want to be bougie.
Oh,
'Cause, I mean,
really?
the definition, according to this, is
according to what? What's this?
Is this Urban
luxurious,
Dictionary?
Yeah, is it-
luxurious in lifestyle, yet humble in character.
Oh,
Wow.
I mean,
didn't-
what's
what
wrong
is-
with that?
That is amazing. Who wrote that
There's
definition?
all kinds of different
Is
definitions.
that,
on
yeah,
it.
is
I'll
that,
find one
is
that
that
makes you sound
Webster's or is
terrible.
that Urban Dictionary?
Yeah, I thought that'd be Urban
Or is that
Dictionary.
Colt's Dictionary?
I don't know. I don't have a dictionary. I can't even read.
yeah, good point.
Yeah, I can't find that. We're just gonna go with that one.
I love it. Then I would love to be bougie.
Bougie doesn't sound that bad now.
Yeah, and this other definition, one who possesses swag and he's elite and rich. Sounds great.
That sounds amazing.
Keith Mitchell is bougie.
That could be like Big Beautiful.
Maybe that's Jeff. Jeff's
Bougie Jeff?
Jeff's
Yeah,
bougie.
your alter ego,
Keith-
Jeff.
Yeah, Keith's just like, whatever, normal guy. And Jeff here.
Yeah, Jeff
love
likes
it.
to spend a little
Yeah.
quickly.
Well, Keith, this has been
Yes.
a pleasure, my man. Thank you so much for joining us.
This is, thanks for this call. This fills my soul.
Well, that was bougie Keith Mitchell on Golf Subpar, dude. He's a beauty. I had a blast with him.
I reached out to like 3 of his buddies, like, hey, give me something on Keith. And to a man, all 3 of them were like, he likes really nice shit. He's fancy as fuck. All this type, like Joel and Damon, or and Harkins and all those guys. I was like, it was the same answer for all of them, but he was awesome, dude. And one thing that we brought up that I don't think got enough credit in the golf world was Phil Mickelson's always the guy pulling pranks, like get one up. He pulled a good one on Phil, who apparently didn't like it, but that didn't get in. I don't feel like that got its just due.
And he didn't fall for Phil's rebuttal,
Yes.
which I really, really liked. But, going back to the whole liking nice things, he makes a great point. He's like, well, don't you like
yeah,
nice
who doesn't?
things?
If
Yeah.
you're like, are you like,
I like flying private. I like
Nice
awesome
wine. Yeah.
Yeah, nice watches, of course. Who doesn't?
yeah.
But he prides himself on those nice things.
Yeah, and it sounds like he does a very good job at it, and he can when you're winning PGA Tour events, taking down the likes of Brooks and
I was
Rickie
gonna say,
and those
what a
guys.
way-
Like, shit, treat yourself. It's
What
hard.
a way to get your first PGA Tour win. Here's the people at the Honda Classic, and I'm just guessing, but they are salivating when Brooks Koepka and Rickie Fowler in the clubhouse, and Keith Mitchell, who's relatively unknown at the time, has to lay up on this par 5. They're like, okay, we're about to have a playoff with 2 massive names and some guy named Keith, Kevin, Jeff Mitchell. Okay? And then all of a sudden, Keith Mitchell steps up and buries a 15-footer to win it. And I didn't say he ruined the people's day, but didn't probably give them what they wanted. But, I mean, what a way to do it.
Yeah, you got for trying to win for the first time, knowing that I either make this putt or I got to go into a playoff with 2 of the best players in golf at the time. Like, not one, 3 for 1. Mm-hmm. Not liking your odds there, and then to make that, and then that's just kind of propelled him. And like from a talent perspective, this guy seems to have it all. Looking forward to seeing what he does the rest of the year. But it was cool to sit down with him. Never met him, never talked to him, and easy guy to root for.
Yeah, and we got to get him to take us out to the Sweetens Cove.
That place sounds
Sweetens
sweet.
Cove.
Sweetens Cove.
Yeah, Sweetens Cove. I've driven by it, never stepped foot in it. The pictures look incredible. Looks like a blast. He could at least send us some of their whiskey, some of their booze. Since we do like to get
be the
amongst
polite
it.
thing to do. A lot of guys like to bring
Thank
gifts
you for
in,
having
you
us
know what I mean?
me on
Keith?
your show. Here's some free booze. That's all we ask.
Absolutely. We don't ask a lot. We're
Or
simple.
45,000
simple
from
guys.
Xander, whatever.
Simple guys. But that Sweetens Cove place sounds sweet, and it's cool that Peyton Manning called him up. Said, hey, you want to get involved in this deal? I think if you get that phone call, just quick yes, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I mean it's Peyton Manning, of course. How could you say no to Peyton Manning?
Without question.
All right. Well, it was a lot of fun with Keith. Special thanks to him for coming on. But Slays, now it's time to get to something that I'm enjoying a little bit more than you are, I believe, and that's the gambling segment of the show. And we're doing a little different this year. We're doing one and done. So you get to pick one guy.
Survivor.
You get to pick one guy each week. Once you use him, you're done with him for the season. Producer Mark, would you like to go over some of the results from last week's Farmers Insurance Open?
Well, last week, Drew made a very bold pick in Charles Howell III, who, unbeknownst to him, was going off at 120-1 on FanDuel to win.
To be fair to Drew, though, he had made 17 straight cuts.
Yeah,
at Farmers
I was going to
Insurance
wait
Open.
to after you got done to defend myself. Just 17
I just wanted to
for
defend my
17.
guy.
Made millions and millions of dollars at this golf course. And by the way, finished in the top 20 basically half the time. So not
But
not a far stretch there to pick Charles Howell.
he did, and a lot of people on Twitter pointed it out when he missed the cut. So you had to deal with that all weekend. I get that. Colt, on the other hand, Tony Finau tied for second with Xander, and as Colt mentioned before, that was worth a cool $456,000, giving Colt the lead of 494,632 on the short year.
Okay, just a small deficit.
So wait, what?
$500,000.
I'm confused. What's Sleaze's total?
Yeah, quick update on me.
That would be $0.
Zero. Oh, it stayed at zero.
Stayed
Okay,
at
I
zero.
thought maybe might give him like a little appearance fee, $5,000 or something.
We got to talk about this though, because this is a one and done pool, right? It's not like you're having to pick scrubs. You can pick anyone in the field. And you've gone between this and our Gravy and the Sleeves on SiriusXM. You've missed 3 straight cuts.
I'm 0 for 3 on our radio show. I'm 0 for 2 over. Well, tell me who I'm picking that sucks. Charles Howell's got the best record in the history of Torrey Pines. I mean, the guy never plays bad. And I took Russell Henley at American Express, the best iron player on tour since they came back as a second shot golf. I mean, I don't know. Here's my problem. I've identified. You want me to tell you what my problem is? I'm doing too much research. I would have never picked Charles Howell last week.
Too much reading for the
If I hadn't gone back and be like, oh my God, this is an unbelievable track. Never missed the cut. Always finished in the top 20. I would have never picked him. But then I go researching, and then I lead myself to it. Colt, look at this head.
It's big.
It's enormous, right? You know what lives inside of here? An enormous brain. I got to start using my brain. Less computers, more brain. I'm done researching. I'm done stats. I'm going off the gut, going off the brain now. Team meeting. We got to switch things up.
All I know is that if you happen to go out and pick, let's say, John Rahm, who's the number 2 ranked player in the world this week for the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and he misses the cut, this is going to be known as the sleaze factor.
It's trending.
Like this is a serious problem.
Yeah, I'll be willing. If I pick another big dog and they miss the cut, I'm going to start just taking money. Be like, oh, you want me to pick you this week? Break the kid off a little piece.
All right. Well, let's get right to it. Let's make our picks for this week. The Waste Management Phoenix Open. Sleaze making his debut as a Thunderbird. Obviously not working very hard. He's sitting here with me right now.
I think I'm the only Thunderbird active. There's 55. I think I'm the only one to not have stepped foot on property yet.
That's a hell of an accomplishment.
The
Welcome
MVP,
to welcome to
MVP trophy. This is dedication to the show, dude. I'm showing you love.
I'll take it.
Probably no MVP for me this year.
That's all right. All right. Well, we got a big event. We're going to have some fans out there, 5,000 a day. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And for my one and done pick, I'm going to see if I can stay hot here. I'm going to a guy, he's a 2-time champion around TPC Scottsdale. He's also got a second. And in the last 2 years, he's finished 15th and 16th. For some reason, he kind of likes this place. Hasn't missed a cut in a while, but hasn't really played that great. Finished second at the Houston Open back in 2020. But I'm going Hideki Matsuyama.
And wouldn't it just be the situation where the 1 week where I just say I'm scrapping all research, I'm not going to look at a computer, do nothing. I come in and I had Hideki pegged, and then you picked him, so it's a good pick. I like that pick. I just know that he's won multiple times here and seems to never.
You
play
can
back.
pick him as well.
No, I'm down $500,000. A tie is a loss at this point. I got to make up some ground, so I'm going. This will be the litmus test right here, bud. If I strike out and get a goose egg this week, then it's a wrap. It's over because I'm going with one of my favorite guys on tour. I like to pick him any week I can, really. But I'm going Xander Schauffele, 10-1, runner-up last week. Has played well here. You want to know what he finished last year? I don't know because I don't give a shit. I just know he's really, really good. So I'm going Xander at 10-1. No research, no nothing. This is the one, but if there's not an actual dollar sign next to my name after this week, we got stress.
There's a dollar sign right now. It just says 0
If
next
there's
to
not
it.
something more than like an actual real number next to it.
Okay.
So
well, you got Xander. I've got Hideki. So let's go through some other picks we might like. As far as a favorite, by the way, I'm big on Xander this week. I like him. But my favorite to win the golf tournament, I just don't want to burn him yet, my one and done. He's making his first appearance here at TPC Scottsdale. The golf course is perfect for him. He hits high draws off the tee. I followed him last week, and he's driving it like a god. It's unbelievable to watch. I really enjoyed it. Rory McIlroy, I think, wins this golf tournament this week.
Couldn't find a better place for him. And the one thing that seems to give him issues, and it's tough at Torrey because those greens, those Poana, they start bouncing around in the afternoon. These greens are perfect, and they're not tough by tour standards in terms of like the slope and things. They're if you get a good feel on these things, you can hold some putts. So can never disagree with the Rory pick. I'm gonna go if I'm just picking a winner. Xander's my guy for their Survivor. I like John Rahm around this place. Gets a home game this week. He's played really well here. Shit, he top 5 or top 8 or something as an amateur when he was still at Arizona State. Yeah, 4th. He's used to all the grass. It's very comfortable. I mean, John Rahm will probably be the guy.
Sleep
in
his own bed.
Yeah, sleep in their own bed. No fans, none of that to deal with. So, Rahm and Rory, we're going out on a limb in terms of the winners there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Number 2 and number 7 in the world.
Props to us for taking this.
But let's go a little dark horse because my dark horse last week, Ryan Palmer, that started off the week at 50-1, finished tied for second. He's been playing some great golf. Been a lot of fun to watch Ryan kind of revamp his career at 44 years old. But I'm going with a guy who's had last year in the West Coast swing, had 3 straight top 15s, also gets to sleep in his own bed this week, has been close so far this year, kind of trending, just very close. I've been watching him very, very closely, and I love his action. I think he's going to have a big week here this week, and it's our guy, Max Homa.
Yeah.
70-1.
There you go. The home bed routine. Max Homa, you're watching him closely. I like that. Very stalkerish of you. I watch you while you sleep, Max. All right, Max Homa. What's his odds?
70-1.
All right, I'm staying
Which
close.
is no respect. I mean, especially, I think he finished 6th here last year, played great. I mean, he was in the last group at Palm Springs a couple weeks ago. Sneaky had a good finish at Torrey Pines. I mean, the guy just strikes.
And when you play with him, it's just like, how do you not shoot 68 or better? There's nothing that goes wrong ever. His golf swing looks perfect. He hits it pure every single time we're out there. It's hard to figure out what doesn't go right in Max.
He should be an absolute ATM machine.
Yeah, and I think he may be turning into that. Or I'm going to stay a little closer to that 50-1 threshold. In fact, I'm going to stay right on it. Go with a previous champion. If you can get a previous champion at long shot odds 50-1, I tend to like that. Gary Woodland coming in 50-1.
God.
Getting healthy. He had the little hip issue towards the end of the year last year, but getting healthy, work his way back. But another golf course, same way you said it for Rory, sets up perfect for him. It's a place where Gary can fly a lot of those fairway bunkers that not everybody can, and clearly his record shows that he likes this joint. 51, Gary Woodland.
He gave me a ride Sunday night from Torrey Pines back home to
right.
Scottsdale, which I really appreciate, but I still hate on him all the time. I told him we were talking about when he won here a few years ago and how he shot 64 on Sunday, and our guy Ches Reavy was battling down the stretch trying to win, his hometown event, being an Arizona State kid. I told him, I said, I've never been more excited when Ches made that putt to force the playoff with you. I was rooting for Ches so hard. It was unbelievable. But, Gary, good pick around this joint. He still worries me that he's not 100% healthy yet. He says he is, but athletes lie a lot.
How'd he look on the plane? Comfortable?
It was very, very comfortable.
Okay, good. All
very
right.
hydrated as well.
Okay. Very hydrated?
Yeah.
Good. I like a guy coming in prepared, taking care of that body.
Yeah, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Waste Management Phoenix Open, one of the biggest events on the PGA Tour schedule. If you need anything, just hit up Sleaze. He can leave you tickets. Get you massages, food, booze, whatever you need.
Sandwich, whatever you want to do. You want to meet Rory? You want to hang out with Rory for a while? Just slide you on over.
I know where he's staying, and I'll give out his information for a small, rather large fee.
Yeah, Venmo's open if you want a room number at Rory's hotel.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Everybody have a great week. We'll talk to you on next week's Golf Subpar.